was going to undertake what I'm calling a pedalboard reconstruction. Over the next 6 months, between now and the end of the year, I'm going to slowly rebuild and upgrade my pedalboard. Starting now. Back when I was in a gigging band, I had a really, really good array of effects. I thought I did. I had a Boss DD20, a Giga Delay, double pedaled delay pedal, which I just recently sold. I had a Tube Screamer, I had a Proco Rat. I was using this, my vintage MXR Phase 100. This is from the 70s. I don't know exactly when. But this has been retired. The back plate has been lost. I kind of modded it to fit onto my pedal board. But it's just retired. It's so old and beat up, and it shorts every now and again. And so between now and the past 5 years, when I'm no longer in a band. I write and record music at my house, but I'm no longer in a gigging band. I got rid of a lot of my nice pedals. Over the past year, I've purchased some, cheap pedals, and some of them sound okay, some of them sound like crap, and I still have some stuff that I used when I was gigging. So what I want to do is I want to keep some of the pedals that I currently have, and then some of the cheap, crappy pedals I'm going to put together on a separate board just to have like a little pedal board that I can let a friend use when they come over, which happens. Friends come over and we jam. So I'll have a separate pedal board. I want to upgrade some of the pedals with some nicer stuff, and I can't drop a bunch of money all at once to upgrade my whole pedal board at one time, because obviously that'd be like $1,000. So over the next 6 months, between now and the end of the year, I want to slowly upgrade my pedal board, and I'm going to document it. This is part 1, which is just an overview, and let's take a look at the way my pedal board is set up currently, which isn't very nice. Okay, starting on the right, we have my Steve Vai Bad Horsey wah, and I've had that for close to 12-13 years. That's going to stay on the board. And then as we move along, that goes into my Boss Chromatic Tuner, which I've had probably for the equal amount of time. That's staying on the board. And please excuse the order of my pedal boards. I realize that it's not always right. I just kind of reordered stuff. I moved the octave up to see what it would sound like. The Boss Super Octave is probably about 10 to 13 years old. I'm keeping that as well. The next pedal is actually a Boss Turbo Overdrive, which I've had for a long, long time. I've probably had that for 15 years. As you can see, the top, the actual pedal part that you stomp fell off, and I lost it, and I took the top off of a noise gate pedal that I had and put it on there and just duct tape and put an OD. I don't know if I'm going to keep that. I don't know. Something happened. I used to like the way it sounds. Now I can't get it to sound right. Moving along, I have a Mini Mod fuzz pedal, which was very, very cheap, and it sounds very, very cheap. It sounds okay with some guitars. I can get it to sound okay. Can't really get it to sound good. So I want to upgrade that. So far we're upgrading the drive pedal and the fuzz pedal. Next up in the chain is the Super Chorus. I used to have a Boss Chorus Ensemble, which I loved, and I don't know what happened to that pedal. So I bought the Super Chorus, and it sounds pretty good. I'm going to keep that. Next is the Joyo Vintage Phase, which is basically a cheap knockoff of a Phase 90. Now, I'm not going to lie. This pedal actually sounds pretty good. So I don't think I'm going to upgrade that. We'll see. It's true bypass. It just sounds really, really good. I think maybe I'll eventually, I don't know if I'd go phase 90 if I upgraded it. I think I'd go phase 100 because you just have so much more control, and that's what I was used to with my vintage one. But that actually sounds pretty killer, so I don't think I'm going to upgrade that. And then the last effect in my chain is my, it's a Donner Yellow Fall delay. Basically, I sold my delay pedal, my Giga delay. It was just too much delay. I never used any of the function for it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to get a cheap delay pedal. So I bought this because it's kind of a modulation delay, and I like using delays that modulate, which basically means they deteriorate on each delay. I like the way that sounds. So I bought this, and it sounds okay, but to me it just sounds cheap. It's a cheap pedal. It's true bypass, and you know, it seems sturdy. I also am not a fan of mini pedals. No matter what I do, I can't get them to stick right to the board. I have size 13 feet, and it's just hard for me to kick it on without kicking it all over the place. As you can see, it's all crooked. And then over here I just have like a little homemade board with my foot switches to expand. I want to add more pedals. The pedal board that this is on, the other guitar player in my band actually built for me. It's just a big homemade DIY plank of wood. It's heavy as shit with Velcro all over it. I want to maybe actually upgrade the board too. I have a pedal train mini that I've been using, but I had to expand. So I'm thinking maybe getting another pedal train mini and combining them, or just, you know, using this big heavy bastard again. So let me tell you some pedals that I want to get. A TC Electronics Flashback for my delays. A TC Electronics Spark for boost. Some kind of higher gain overdrive. I want some kind of lower gain overdrive for gain staging. I want to get a muff for fuzz. I love fuzz. I was never a fuzz fan when I was in a band. I'm in love with David Gilmour. I have a total man crush on David Gilmour and a total man crush on Josh Homme. They both dig some fuzz, and I dig fuzz now. I was just always a natural overdrive fan, but I love me some fuzz now. Oh, I also want to get the TC Electronic Pitchfork. I used to have a Digitech whammy pedal. I sold that. I loved that thing. I would use it to play lines with myself. That's the only really time I used it. For leads and stuff, to make it sound like more than one guitar was playing. And the Pitchfork does that really, really well and sounds killer. But that's lower on the list of priority. So I just have a whole slew of pedals I want to get. And I want to get high quality stuff because I feel like high quality stuff over time, you know, still sounds great. I feel like some cheaper stuff either breaks or sounds like crap after a while. This has been part one of my redoing my pedal board. I wish I could magically make this thing, you know, have the back plate on it again. And you actually had, it's so old school of a pedal, you had to drill off the back to replace the 9-volt. So I would just take the back off, and I found this little daisy chain power supply for the 9-volt because it doesn't have 9-volt connection. So I always had the back off of this, and then I just, for years, have misplaced it. I've had this since I was 5 years old. When I first got my first guitar, I got a guitar, an old vintage Fender Champ, which I traded like an idiot to my other guitar player in my band, which he sold, and then this pedal. So it was a vintage Champ and this vintage Phaser. Again, I don't know what year. It was either late 70s, early 80s, but this thing is awesome. But like I said, I'm gonna redo my pedal board and I'm gonna document it. Hopefully over this next 6 months, we have a completely new pedal board. So Won't you join me along the way? Part 2 of this video series is coming tomorrow. I'm going to Victor Litt's Music in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and I'm going to buy a drive pedal and a muff.